How to plot. In order to plot, you should do the following. Configure your sheet layout, which we've done here. We have our template sheet layout, and we went into our page setup manager, and we went through this area here and set up our line weights and our layout and our scale, and we made sure that the plot styles would display. We also went through and did our line weights and configured our title block template. The second thing that you need to do is assign line weights, which we've done. Then the next step is to basically plot to a PDF. Most plotters prefer PDFs over a raw drawing from CAD. This mostly has to do with maintenance overhead or keeping every type of driver CAD might need or use, or keeping drivers for every single operating system out there, from 32 to 64 and so on. With a PDF, you only need one driver, and that is for a PDF. And if you don't know what drivers are a software application that tells the operating system how to use the hardware correctly. So of course, incorrect drivers can lead to bad plots. Plotting is often needed to communicate to contractors who will build your design, the client who is going to pay for it, and possibly other stakeholders such as the city or the county. So to plot to PDF, we need to go to our paper space. So if you're in model space, you need to switch over to paper space, get everything configured like I mentioned. Go up here to the application drop down, go to the print, and then go over here to plot. And there should be nothing that you have to do here because we did all of this in Page Setup Manager, meaning that the only thing that you need to do at this point in time is click OK. Once you click OK, you'll need to save it to a location. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to save it maybe on my desktop, but of course you want to save this to your file management system. So for demo purposes, I'm just going to save it here. Maybe I'll actually save it into my file management system just to make sure that people save it to the right place. So I'm going to put it somewhere in here, and it's a PDF, so maybe I should have a folder in here called PDFs. I'll just create a new folder. Maybe I'll call it Submissions. That way I know that this was something that I submitted. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save, and I probably don't need all of this date information in the front. I could always change it later. So, I can rename the file. So I'll just leave it as this and click Save. And once it's done, it will eventually open. It'll look something like this. It'll probably be sideways, but that's okay. We can go over here to the View, go to Page, or not Page Display, go to Rotate View, and it needs to be rotated counterclockwise, so I'll click counterclockwise, and here is a PDF version. Of course, you're going to want to go through and finish the drawing. This one isn't exactly complete, and my little link up here kind of got broken. So this is just for demonstration purposes only, just showing how to plot. Then up here where there's a file drop down, we'll go to print again, and this time we won't print it as a PDF or 8.5 by 11. We'll actually select a plotter from this drop down list. So we'll just pretend that this is a plotter. It's not actually a plotter. You'll need to make sure that you configure the paper size to 24 by 36. And one thing that I want you to be very careful about is this shrink thing here. You don't want to shrink anything. And the reason why is if you shrink it, the scale will be off. So you got to be very, very careful about that. So you need to check your PDF before plotting. Of course, you can have your neighbor redline your PDF before you actually go to do an actual plot. But the big thing is to make sure that it's not shrink to print, because if it's shrink to print, it's not going to be to scale, and it could end up getting built that way, which could cost your firm thousands of dollars and potentially lead into a lawsuit. So if you're plotting construction documents, make sure that you're not shrinking anything, that things are actually to scale. And if you want to be extra careful, one thing to do is after you plot, get your scale out and measure things and make sure that it's correct. So basically, that's all there is to plotting.